So with this week's episode of The Rising of the Shield Hero, episode 14, we tackle some demons, and Raftalia's kind of nightmares have been relevant since the beginning of this series. Like, what really drove her to be so fearful of something that keeps reoccurring nearly every single night? And obviously it had to relate to her being a slave, as clearly that's the logical conclusion one would come to. But it was nice to not only just have that dream become more and more relevant, but also have that nightmare actually connect to the main objective with the shield hero. And this episode overall had a lot going on. There was actually quite a bit happening for an episode that really didn't have much action. It was really a lot of drama and a lot of we have to get somewhere where we're not going to get massacred, as really Worst Girl and her father have kind of screwed everything over. In terms of the king, he doesn't want Melty harmed. Clearly, he's being manipulated by mine and the church overall to make it seem like the shield hero is the big bad, playing into his kind of hatred for the shield hero for whatever happened in the past, thinking that once again his family is going to be killed or captured. And it was nice just seeing where they had to go, because for the shield hero, Naofumi just wants to get to his destination, but because the entire world now thinks he is the devil shield user, he can't go there. So unfortunately for him, his only path would be to try and see if the queen is who she says she is. And the only reason he's even willing to take this risk is because Melty has proved that some royalty can be trusted in this kingdom. And I think the overall connections that were being formed in this episode were really touching, because Melty has changed a whole lot. From where she starts off as kind of the little girl trying to play the big ruler, because unfortunately for her, her big sister is such a horrible person that she couldn't be next in line, so a kid had to be the next in line for the throne, and if anything was to happen to the queen or the king, she would be the next one to rule. So she's always put on this face of being the ruler, a lot more mature than she actually is for her age. But since coming into contact with Naofumi, she started to actually act her age and actually, talk back to people, be a little sassy, as if she's talking with friends and family, not with servants or someone who's under her. And I like how characters are recognizing it, such as the lord that we get introduced in this episode, who helps shelter Naofumi and the gang, and recognizes that, honestly, Naofumi has been a great influence on her, because even though she is the crown princess, she still should be able to act like a kid, and it's nice, even if only for a few days, that she gets to not have to act like a ruler, but also get to act like a kid who has friends and family. So it's nice just seeing how Melty is reflecting on this, and how pretty much every character other than herself are kind of recognizing, saying, embrace this, because there's nothing wrong with what you're feeling, you should be able to act this way. And Naofumi is someone who has such realistic development, for someone who has such a bitter outlook on this world, and for very reasonable reasons. I love the way that he does open up to people. It's not just that he forgives and forgets. If people really do show determination and put trust in him, such as the way Melty has put trust into Naofumi, he's obviously going to care for her. So if she gets captured or anything like that, he will go to rescue her, even though it would be better for him to just keep moving along. But because this girl has proven trust in him, of course he's not going to abandon a kid, because like he says, what hero would abandon a child in need? And there's just so many little moments in this episode that I really appreciate, such as when they all are hiding, Melty comes up with this plan to essentially convince this lord that the shield hero's gone, and that she would essentially be able to work some political magic to get him kind of cleared. And I like how when Melty is getting everyone kind of situated, she tells Philo that they're going to play hide and seek, essentially, because Philo is just such a kid. When she gets told that she has to go hide and not come out, she's going to assume it's hide and seek. And I love how it kind of reinforces that even though Philo does have this feisty badass side, she still is just a kid. And then we'll have scenes where Raftalia is kind of cutting down the soldiers, but she's not using lethal force. She's hitting them over the back of the head, hitting them in the stomach. She's never delivering fatal blows. The same way with Naofumi, when he uses his shield to poison someone, he does have an antidote, he just gets information before he gives said antidote. The reason this is so important is that Naofumi is currently being hunted as the devil. Even though he doesn't care about this kingdom, it's easier for him if people don't believe the lies. So if he starts cutting down soldiers, even if those soldiers are coming after him, it will make him look bad if he kills anyone, including Worst Girl. So the fact that they're going the extra mile to make sure that when they fight, taking the extra time to not kill but just knock them out, it will help his case when the queen does set everything straight. She can say, not only did they lie, they never took the lives of those trying to kill them. And that's what's really important with Naofumi, is not only is he super logical, he just has this really reasonable and realistic character growth that you just appreciate every single time. And like when he sees his lord, even though he trusts in Melty, he doesn't trust random strangers with random food that they're going to give him. He's going to naturally assume it's poison. It's these little moments that really shape this series into something quite special, because even though it has such an interesting plot with all this politics at play, you have these little but very human interactions and moments that really let you believe, okay, it's not just a typical isekai protagonist who just doesn't think about what's happening. He actually puts a lot of thought. He doesn't want to sleep when they know they're being hunted. He doesn't trust this. This is when he won't sleep. There's these little but yet really important moments that take a good series that it kind of starts off as into something that's truly great, because there's these little but really important details at play. And I really love just seeing how Raftalia was kind of being tormented by this dream, and how now Fumi just keeps seeing this as such a horrible sight, because for him, Raftalia is the most important person to him probably in his life in this kingdom, because she was the first one to put trust in him and bring him back out from the darkness. And I love how he just wants to help her, but he also sees that, unfortunately, we have to first make sure Melty is our top priority. Whatever down this basement, we can check out after. Because for Raftalia, this is the man who clearly had her in slavery, and when slaves would beg for their lives, clearly he didn't stop and would keep whipping and killing them. And I like how Raftalia is such a badass at the end of the episode, because she doesn't flinch at the whips like she would when she was first in his care. And I say care very lightly, because it wasn't care, but it should have been. And I love how in this moment you have so much badass moments with kind of Naofumi coming charging and Raftalia taking the whips and making him beg the same way demi-humans begged when he was the one in power. There's so many like moments that just I loved, because any one of these stories would actually work to hold an episode together. Whether it be Melty growing up and recognizing that she can actually have friends and family and not just be an older, kind of more mature person than she really is. You have the whole Raftalia situation with slavery and things like that. You have just the traveling scenes that honestly are enough to keep me entertaining, because when you have an entire kingdom hunting you, it's pretty damn fun just seeing how they are able to avoid getting captured, if not killed. And you know, you have all these little pieces at play. You have a father being manipulated by his daughter to make it seem like his hatred for the shield hero is justified because, look, once again, someone's trying to take your family. You have a queen clearly at bay because she's trying to do whatever politics she has to do elsewhere. So it's up for the shield hero to recognize that she can be trusted, and for him to bring her daughter and bring his party so all this can be situated. And then you have all these other kingdoms doing who knows what, but it'll be pretty exciting to see, all while kind of having this countdown of a wave, because once that wave hits, Naofumi's going to be summoned right back in, and whether he likes these people or not, he's going to have to fight alongside them. There's all these like little pieces that episodes like these really highlight just how strong the writing actually is for this series. Even though at a surface level you can say, oh, it's another isekai series. Got people summoned to a world, they're fighting a big wave or demons, things like that. But then when you dive into the politics and how everything's kind of connecting, and these really realistic motivations for characters like not casting fatal blows, or just how the characters' personalities evolve and grow, it actually fits their mentality, their age range, and just everything like that, that really makes me love this series, and why I'm so grateful that this is carrying over into a second core, because typically, with a lot of isekai premises, if you get one season, 12 episodes, you say, that's fine, I mean, there wasn't that much at play here. But when you have something that's running for 2 consecutive cores, you're like, oh, this is carrying on, but why should I care it's carrying on? Well, when you see stuff like Rising of the Shield Hero that are really going the extra mile to make sure the writing is actually tight, and actually has a lot of meat and substance to it, you think, well, this is why it should carry over to another season, and why it should get multiple seasons, because this is a story that actually matters, and it's more than just a hero being a badass and calling it a day. This is a hero who really feels like a hero without even trying to be, which is exactly what a hero should be called as. It shouldn't be like you try to be a hero and you work towards it. No, he's just a normal guy who hates this world, but just with how he naturally acts, it makes him into a wonderful hero, and I love it. I thought just the way this episode was functioning with the music, once again, there's so many styles to the soundtrack, and even when I hear similar tracks to prior episodes, just the way this man crafted this OST, no matter when you think you've heard it all, the way they just fluctuate the tracks and shift up the styles to match it, making it super electronic, making it feel like the bass is kind of eating away through you, to how you have this like church-like song kind of eating away in the background to make it feel very disturbing, very creepy, like something truly bad could happen, or just the more simplistic slice of life music. There is so much at play, and I love the way the music just brings out all these emotions that, honestly, if it had a weak soundtrack, I'd still enjoy this series probably as much as I do. But when you really listen to the soundtrack and when you really pay attention to what the music's doing, it matches the character writing so perfectly that you can tell that it's not just like they were handed this soundtrack and they're slapping music down randomly. No, they're carefully placing these tracks at the appropriate moments, and it can tell the quality is really letting this flourish, and I love it so much. Once again, this was another great episode, even when it's not the most flashy of episodes trying to blow you away with the most crisp character models or just photorealistic backgrounds. The way the writing and just emotions and voice acting and soundtrack can really just keep you invested, that you just come out saying this was such a perfect episode, and I'm really excited to see where this slave owner is going to go, what Raftalia will do. I know she'll want to kill this man for everything that he's done, and clearly we'll learn more and more about what happened in her past and what happened to her previous friend that she likes to call out during her nightmares there, because clearly she didn't make it. So it'll be interesting to see where this is going to go, and if Naofumi can hold her back, or if Naofumi will let her choose her own path, whether that be kill this man or let him go, because letting him go would look better when it does come to the queen, and the queen should be the one delivering the punishments, whatever that may be. But for everyone who did watch this week's episode of The Rising of the Shield Hero, what did you think? Your favorite moment? Where do you think it's going to go next week? Let me know. Be sure to like the video if you did enjoy, and also hit that subscribe button if you're new around here. But until next time, everyone, please take care and have a good one.